Welcome to the Dating with Katy podcast. Today I'll be talking about manifesting the person that you desire and my theories and thoughts on that. So you'll want to stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining. Go ahead and make sure you subscribe so you're catching our weekly podcast here all about dating. 15 minutes, action-packed, fact-filled, informational, so that you can become what I like to say, be successful, get confident, and have some fun dating. So make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure you're following me on Instagram, Dating with Katy. It's across the board. And if you'd like to work with me, go ahead and fill out the link below to work with me. I'd love to have you in my network. I have lots of singles and I'm always matching. If you'd like to become one of those singles who has guaranteed dates, we can talk about that as well. Summer is coming and it is a hot time to date. And I can tell you this, that I can get you more dates than you can swipe yes on. So without further ado, I want to get started on today's topic because I've kind of been the last two podcasts kind of mulling over a few difficult topics. Now in podcast 57, I talk about what the title actually says, the number one secret, to find love in your life. Because I find that every time I get these emails, every time I'm looking on YouTube, those are like the most watched. And I know it's just a catchline and a tagline and we're just reeling you in with it. But really, as a matchmaker for over 10 years, getting feedback from both sides as someone who's putting people together, I see it differently than sometimes how you see it. And that's a good thing. I mean, think about when you watch Indian Matchmaker, when you watch these shows. I mean, this is how culturally people used to date. And so in that podcast, I talk about the number one secret, which really is about understanding your standards, which is your non-negotiables. Now and in that podcast, I instruct you on what standards should you look for in a person. I have 4 different standards. And then just these non-negotiables, like really understanding those two are kind of the similar. It's going to come out of your value set. So that's all like a ball of goodness when you're dating. Like the clearer you get, the better you will be at dating and more successful. So go listen to that podcast because the other thing I talk about in that is your preferences. Now, oftentimes you guys make this checkoff list, talks about, I want him tall, I want a good head of hair, I want her fit, I want her, and it's, I will say this, a disclaimer, men are a lot easier on the women list than women. So just that is your preferences. That's what you would like to have in somebody, but you could get all of that list checked off and they could treat you like crap. So keep that in mind. So that was podcast 57. Podcast 58 was, are you settling? You've asked yourself that question, right? You're dating someone, you're over 3 months in. I call that the 3-3-3 rule, 3 dates, 3 weeks, 3 months. Should be serious by then. And you sometimes wonder, am I settling? Is this really the right person for me? So go listen to that podcast. A lot of great stuff. Again, I roll you back into, does this person have your non-negotiables? So are they meeting those needs? And that's really important, is understanding the character value that you picked of the person, because that is somebody you want to be with. So today's podcast is this idea of manifesting your partner. And let me read this to you. I just got a DM from someone and they said, Katy, how do I manifest the man of my dreams? Stop right there. Your dreams can be crazy. So don't even trust your dreams, right? You all know we all have crazy dreams. So this idea of my dreams, is this her checklist? Which I hate checklists. So if you have a standards list, I'm good with that. But I hate just the beginning of this whole thing. How do I manifest the man of my dreams? And then she says, she goes on to say about how one of these other somatic coaches, this woman, she manifested her perfect man, and it's like, stop already. Stop. This is just, it's a lie, and it's just not functional, because really it's not about romance, it's about reality. And so I'm going to give you 5 of what I believe are 5 things that I believe about manifestation. And I put that in air quotes if you didn't see that. What manifestation is and is not. All right. So again, there's this Instagram woman. She's great. As a matter of fact, she was in my network. She was in my database. She was going out with this great guy and she was telling everybody he was the one, and then they broke up. Okay. So how do you say you manifested the one and then break up? It happens because you made a choice. And we're going to talk about that today. And then now she's back with this new guy who has everything on her list. And I got to tell you, I've seen the list. I've seen her list. It's in our database. And it's like, wow, pages long. And it's so impractical to expect anybody to live up to that list all the time. or even some of the time. So people change. We're going to go through seasons. So let's get to number one, okay? This is the number one thing that I think about manifestation. I think manifesting is silly. Not that I'm against it, so listen to this, all right? I think it's silly to believe that a board, a mantra, a list of preferences is actually going to fulfill and find that person that you're looking for, okay? Because a piece of paper is not going to manifest anything for you. So what you're actually doing is you're making a subconscious and conscious decision of what you're going to look for. That's really what you're doing when you're manifesting. So it's not frou-frou, and it's not for some people. What it is, some people put pen to paper, some people cut out and do collages. So this idea of manifesting is really listening to your heart's desire. And here, Psalms 37:4 in the Bible says, delight yourself in the Lord and he'll give you the desires of your heart. Because all of you, man and woman listening today, has a desire in their heart for something. And you got to get really clear on that. And that leads me to number two. Manifesting is just getting laser focused on what that desire in your heart is, knowing what you do and do not want in a relationship, period. That's all it is, you guys. It's really getting down to the nitty gritty, and dating is good for that because you learn what you do and what you do not want. Am I right? Like you're all saying, yes, those things that I saw that I do not want. So when you are, quote, air quote, manifesting, you're basically just getting laser focus of the qualities that you want, the future that you want. Imagine your future. You know, they say that often if you're going to be manifesting. Imagine your future. Like when I was single, I only wanted to date guys that lived on the south side of PCH, Pacific Coast Highway, basically the beach side, because in my mind, in my heart's desire, in what I wanted to manifest, call it what you will, I wanted to live by the beach. So why would I date a guy in deep Corona, which is like hot and yucky? So I was very laser focused, and I was very smart on my Bumble to watch my radius and look at the cities. Okay, so I'm basically making choices. And so make sure that you know your non-negotiables, which is again, I just told you podcast 57, so that you can get laser focused about that. So if the guy is handsome, if the woman is beautiful, she's good on your arm, but she doesn't treat you right, that'll get you laser focused to hopefully go break up and not even spend your time or waste your time, right? So now what this really boils down to is becoming, what is your goal in dating? And some of you call that intentional dating. I love it. That's fine. But what is the goal? Because this is how you manifest something in your life, by making the best choice that aligns with that goal. Okay? It's the big C word here. And guys, if you haven't listened to my podcast, the 5 C's of a great relationship, that's in the 30s, 31, 32. You manifest what you choose. Okay? A choice is the biggest part of all of this. You could date anybody who you choose. That doesn't mean you're manifesting it. So again, number one, it's silly to think that a board, a piece of paper, a list is going to manifest anything. But manifestation is getting laser focused on what you're looking for. Number three, manifestation, it's getting rid of your maybes. So when you're not laser focused, you have a lot of maybes in your background. Well, maybe I'll have a baby. Maybe I'll get married again. Get clear. Get super clear, because your funnel will get smaller and smaller, and you'll find the person that you want to choose. I'm going to say this again, choose to be with, because that's going to become important in a minute here, because this is what it's all about. You can manifest anything you want, but you've got to choose to love it. You've got to choose to put effort into it. You've got to make that choice. So it's getting rid of those maybes. And sometimes that's where the settling comes in. And that's why I did my podcast one ago. Like, are you settling? Those maybes start to come up. And then you're not settled, because you know you're not settling when you're at peace about something. You know, I was on an Instagram live today, and my friend's like, I said to her, how do you know? Her name's Laura. She has a great book, Don't Pee in My Dating Pool. I asked her, Laura, how do you know when you're not settling? She says, well, when you're settled. And there is a peace, and look, life's not perfect, and there will be frustrations with anybody, but there is a peace that comes with somebody that you trust them, that you know they got your back. So that is how you know you're not settling. And you're getting rid of your maybes. Like, well, maybe I can trust them. Maybe they got my back. No, that's not being laser focused, which is the goal here. So let's make sure that we are doing that. Now you have to know your standards, your non-negotiables, because that's your value set. You also have to know your preferences. We talked about that for just a second. You can flex on those. Is he bald? Is he not bald? He's got a little bit of that hair left, a little crowning bald. Who cares? Does he treat you amazing? Does he choose you every day? Does she choose you? Does she cheerlead you on? That's what we choose back, you guys. That's how you manifest good things in your life. That's how you get your heart's desire, because you align with it, you get laser focused on it, and you get rid of your maybes. All right, now here's another thing about this. It is also, manifesting is also neurological. Now, if you've ever listened to Joe Dispenza, I took a brain and behavior class in high school, and Joe Dispenza goes deep into the manifestation science behind it all. And really, you're just creating new, what does he call it? Like wavelengths in your brain to create new memories. And those new memories have a feeling to it. And so a lot of times they talk about feeling, smell the ocean, see the house, know what the guy looks like. But really, I don't like that one. I mean, you can get details and you can ask God for those details, but don't let that stop you from a great guy either, or woman. But so it's neurological, and I really think it's so interesting when you listen to his podcast, listen to his scientific proof of how you can create new pathways. And so one of the things that he reminds us of is that we have a record. I always like to think of like literally my head as a record player, and there's a record going around on top of my head. And, some of those records are scratched. You remember those scratched records? And they go, and then they skip. So whatever you're saying to yourself neurologically, subconsciously, you're saying you're manifesting these things because you're saying them over and over. So you keep seeing them over and over. And well, there's no good guys. Well, because all you're looking for is the no good guys to prove your own point. Because you don't have to change your record, because that's work. You have to go buy a new record. You have to, do the work to change the record. And so you're just going to keep saying, oh, there's no good guys left, or all women just want is men with money. That's a lie that you keep listening to on your record player. And it's important that you literally take that record off of whatever those thoughts are that are not getting you closer to what you're laser focused on, to what your truly heart's desire is. And you got to take that record off and you got to crack it. And you got to get a whole new record and put it on with the right sayings, mantras, beliefs, whatever you want to call them, right? It's the same idea of like when I was pregnant, all I saw was pregnant people. That's when I drive a white car, I see white cars everywhere. So when you think everybody's a bad guy, you see bad guys everywhere. When you start changing that neurological thinking, that the words that are coming out of your mouth, that is manifesting or believing for greater, having faith. And faith is being sure of what you hope for and certain of what you do not see. Now that's Hebrews 11:1. And that, let me say this again, being a person of faith. And you don't have to be a Christian for that. You can still, you put your faith in something every day. I sat on this chair. I trusted the chair. I put my faith in the chair that would hold me because it's been consistent and it proves itself, right? So I know that God's always been consistent in my life, so I can put my faith in him. And it's literally, when I have something deep in my heart, that deep desire, because he put it there, and if it's godly and if it's good, you check what's good by the Bible, not by what the world says, by the way. So if your heart's desire is to get married, if your heart's desire is to have children in your life, and maybe you're past that prime, but maybe children can come another way, that's your heart's desire. Don't lie to yourself about that. Don't say, well, I don't have to get married. Well, yeah, you do. That's what you want. But you want to make sure that record, that verbiage coming out of your mouth, that neurological belief and faith of being sure of what you hope for and certain of what you do not see is what is coming out and going forth in life. Okay, so that is, it's a mind game, guys. It's a war field up here. You all know that. And so men and women overthink, forward think, backwards think. You've got to really just put, and if you want to write that mantra down, like, I believe God has somebody great for my life. I believe there's an amazing man out there who is going to care for me and be kind to me because I'm going to care for him and be kind to him. You see that? Works both ways. And then lastly, this is what I believe manifesting is not. I don't think you need to manifest somebody you love. Okay, so in response to the DM, Katy, how do I manifest the man of my dreams? You don't manifest the man of your dreams. You choose him. You choose somebody. And because the days when he is not the man of your dreams, because he farted or he was rude to you or he's cranky or he didn't take out the garbage when you asked, you still choose him. And that's what love is, you guys. That is how we find people to be with for the rest of our lives, for that strong season of togetherness, right? We're better together. So don't let the world tell you otherwise. Like, I'm better without you. We're all gonna have to work out with something with everybody. And I want to remind some of these ladies, you'll come in being like, oh, I'm a manifester. It is a turn off to guys. They get a little creeped out by it. Like, really, just say it's your heart's desire. Just tell them it's your passion about it. Like, that's so much more attractive than I'm manifesting. It just seems a little woo-woo, I gotta be honest. And also, like, keep it in your heart. You should lock away those things deep in your heart. You don't need to go telling everybody. When it happens, then you can celebrate that, but you don't need to be manifesting to find the person you love. And also, go get busy with your own life. Right? You don't put it on paper and just sit around. As like the birds, you got to go build the nest. You got to go fly and find the stuff and build the nest. And lastly, if you want to do it godly, the Bible says, seek first the kingdom of heaven and all these things shall be added. So again, go do life and it will come, because that's just how this works. So you guys, just be encouraged. I want you to just go forward, believing for something great, believing for someone great, because I know they're out there. They may not look exactly how you think. They might not have the car that you want them to drive. They might have a few more kids than you were hoping for, but give love a chance. And we will talk to you guys next time on the Dating with Katy podcast.